On this week's episode, is Hocus Pocus 2 responsible for the mayhem we're seeing in Salem right now? Fans are also fired up over the leaked season finale of House of the Dragon, an interview with New England actors Eddie Nason and Ethan Rodgers, and a whole lot more. For the Hub on Hollywood, I'm James.
I'm Jamie. I'm especially looking forward to the movie trivia. Stick with us, guys.
All right, Jamie, I'm not sure how close you have been watching the news, but Salem over here, the Halloween hub of the world, is being flooded by witches, ghouls, mummies, monsters, and everything else in between. It's going crazy in Salem. Have you heard about that?
No, but I can imagine. Look, I know every single year, as locals, James, we know you can't really get near Salem. It's just so crazy. It's so crowded, and people love it for a reason. Because, like you said, it's the Halloween capital of the world. You've got the Salem witch trials. You've got all these incredible tours and ghost tours, and so much stuff that goes on down there. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful place. But it's even more of a madhouse than it has been in previous years, and they're thinking it all has to do with this movie that just came out, again, Hocus Pocus 2, the sequel to the cult classic that was also filmed here in New England. And yeah, I can imagine that's definitely piqued people's interest, and they're like, hey, we should definitely be there. But hey, if you're not a local and you've never been here before, here's a tip. You got to book like a month in advance before you can do anything fun in Salem, Massachusetts down there.
Seriously, the city's telling folks do not drive over here because everything is basically a parking lot to take the bus, take the train, take everything, a witch's broom, everything but a car. Now, we have so far, over the first 16 days of this month in October, we have over 500,000 people visiting Salem. That's a 15% increase over the same time frame last year. And this past weekend alone, we had nearly 160,000 people showing up. The city itself only has about 45,000 residents. So you're multiplying the population threefold every weekend. It's insane. And so Hocus Pocus 2, a great fun movie for families, and apparently may be responsible for bringing a lot more attention and business to Salem. So, but as you said, as locals, we avoid it.
I wonder how much of that is the movie and how much is, COVID restrictions being gone completely this year.
Right.
So we should do a scientific study. But until then, guys,
we'll get the beakers and the
data
stats
for
out
you next time.
Exactly. Now, speaking about things that are coming out, and this is unintentional apparently, but House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spin-off on HBO Max, which has been a huge hit. I'm watching it and addicted to it myself. Apparently, the season finale, which airs this weekend, was leaked online.
No!
That's right. The episode began circulating on the internet on Friday, 2 days before the episode is set to air on HBO. In a statement, a spokesperson for the streaming service said they are disappointed and aggressively monitoring and pulling these copies from the internet, saying it appears the leak came from a distribution partner in Europe or the Middle East. I've been doing my best to avoid any spoilers because this show has me hooked, and I'm dying to see it without the spoilers out there.
I like how they say that they're aggressively trying to pull this off the internet. It just makes me imagine a little digital dragon flying through the internet and burning these people to a crisp.
Rightfully so.
But yeah, you know what? As far as spoilers go, I don't think that House of the Dragon is as intense as the original series. As far as people going out there and putting spoilers out immediately, and just the intense amount of fan interest. But so I feel like it's a little easier to avoid spoilers this time around with this show. Don't mess it up for everybody. But this happens all the time. And it's really hard to police that when you have subsidiaries all over the world and you use
this reminds me.
computer animation studios from all over the world. So, I mean, it's tough. It's really hard.
Yeah, you know when the latest Spider-Man movie No Way Home, during the trailer, there's a scene where it shows the lizard being kicked by an invisible being, and
Right,
that
yeah.
was leaked from a trailer from, well, not leaked per se, but that came from a version of a trailer that was released in Brazil. So for some reason, that footage showed just an extra second or two longer than what we saw over here in the US. And then when it showed Lizard being kicked by something invisible, everyone was saying, "Oh, that must be one of the Spider-Man that kicks him," but it was obviously pulled out so it wouldn't ruin the spoiler and that twist of that
Yeah.
film. And so this reminds me of this, like, yeah, just another distribution partner dropped the ball and got that spoiler out there, unfortunately. But hopefully, I don't get spoiled for the season finale.
Yes, don't watch it, guys, and don't spread it. I mean, if you're gonna watch it, fine, whatever. You like spoilers, but don't spread it around. Don't mess it up for other people, okay?
Speaking of spreading around, one thing that has been spread around for years now has been passwords to Netflix, which has allowed friends and family to enjoy the goods of Netflix from one friend who is paying for the account but logging in on their own device. But those days are apparently coming to an end because Netflix says it's going to start charging users who share their password. What are your thoughts on that, Jamie?
Well, okay. I mean, first of all, how are they going to police it? Is my first question. So, do you need to like register a specific device, a specific address or IP address, or how are they going to limit the number of instances that you can log in? I'm just curious, like, how are they actually going to police that? And
Right.
second of all, I think there's a silver lining here. Okay, I think that this kind of secretly helps a lot of people who have pushy friends or relatives or family that just take their passwords and like steal their passwords and log in when they don't want them to. So Netflix is just trying to help you out, James. He's just trying to knock these people off of your account. And I can appreciate at least that part. But other than that, they're trying to recoup the money that they're losing. They're not growing hand over fist anymore. Things are starting to slow down for Netflix. So I can definitely see them trying to bring down the Thor hammer, even though Thor is on Disney Plus. I'm sorry, but they're trying to bring down the hammer on people and bring those dollars back in so they can keep funding all of the great entertainment that they make. But mostly, they just want to line their pockets. They want to keep exactly.
Yes. Now, Netflix did not specify the prices of the fees, but they do plan on testing it out. They actually are testing it out currently in Latin America, charging a fee of roughly a quarter of the price of a standard Netflix plan per extra member. This is set to begin early next year. So for those of you who are using someone else's password, mark the calendar, count the days, because that's coming to an end, apparently, because your friends may not be like, you know what, I think you're my friend, but you're not worth an extra $2 a month kind of a friend.
Oh yeah, that was gonna say, like, if you're I can already see the conflicts. I can already see the battles going down. Hey bro, I'm not worth $2 to you, bro. Come on, man.
Let us know what you think about this whole Netflix controversy, or have you been spoiled by the leaks of House of the Dragon, and are you coming or avoiding Salem altogether? Let us know down below. Follow us at Hub on Hollywood on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and be sure to give us a follow and a like. If you are watching us or listening to us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. And if you are listening to us on any of the major podcasting streaming services out there, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, be sure to give us some love, give us a 5-star review, and thank you so much for listening.
But I think that we've got some more fun lined up for folks right now, James. Okay, so you got yourself some movie trivia, is that right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear this, but I got some rattling cards, movie trivia cards. Who doesn't love some good movie trivia? So I know I'm putting you on the spot. I think we should exchange cards sometime so we can quiz each other. But at this moment, you are on the hot seat because I have some cards with some good
Help me out,
movie
guys.
trivia.
All right, let's see what I can get right, and let's see what the folks who are listening can get right. So here is an introduction to the Hub on Hollywood movie trivia extravaganza. Let's see how badly I do.
Well, let's start off with maybe this is an easy one. Did you watch The Hangover?
Yeah, I think I watched a couple of the Hangover movies.
Excellent. So you should hopefully you get this one. In The Hangover, what name did Alan use to refer to his circle of friends?
Oh, they're the wolf pack, right?
Yes, you got it.
Yay!
All right, you are 1 for 1. Good job. Now, this is a classic. In the movie The Matrix, what color pill did Neo take? The red pill or the blue pill?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm dyslexic. It's one of them.
It is one of them. Those are the two options.
It had to be the red one. You know why? And I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna go on a ledge and say that it was the red one because red is such a symbolic color, that it's gotta be the red one. It's gotta be the red one.
Jamie, you are right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Just via movie symbolism and story symbolism, it wouldn't have been the blue one. So, okay, great. Yay, I'm doing better than I thought I'd be.
All right, Jamie, let's see if you're 3 for 3. Have you seen The Big Lebowski?
I have not. I have not
Ooh,
seen
okay,
the
we'll
Big
skip that
Lebowski.
one. That's not fair. Okay. We'll do let's see. Ooh, have you seen Spinal Tap?
I haven't. I'm a horrible human being, James.
Okay, we'll skip that one. We'll get to that. Well, I'll ask our listeners for this one, and they could comment down below or send us a tweet at Hub on Hollywood. In This is Spinal Tap, what volume does the amplifier famously go up to? What volume does the amplifier famously go up to? Let us know in the comments down below. But Jamie, in Pretty Woman, how does Vivian avoid her landlord who is chasing her for rent? Vivian.
Ooh, okay. Does she go down the fire escape?
Ooh, but how does she get to the fire escape?
Does she climb out a window?
She does.
Does she jump up a thing?
She climbs out the window.
Yay! Okay.
I'll count that as a win.
Oh, Pretty Woman. I missed that movie.
That's a good one. That's a classic, yeah.
That was fun. I did a lot better than I thought I was going to do.
You did.
We should, yes, James and I are going to exchange those cards, and we'll have some fun. We'll have a real competition next time. How did you guys do on that? Let us know down below. Join in our fun and games. But so much fun that we have here, James. And one of the best things that we do here on the Hub on Hollywood is not only do we get people cast in the movies, we're going to have casting calls at the end of this show. So stick around for that if you're interested in being in the next, Netflix or Disney Plus movie or MCU. So many opportunities are here in Massachusetts, but we get to talk to local filmmakers. We get to talk to the people who are living the dream here in Massachusetts, who are taking advantage of all of the incredible opportunities that are coming here and making their own opportunities too. So this week we got to talk to two very talented local actors, Ethan Rodgers and Eddie Nason. James, what can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, so they're two New England boys who appear in this new proof of concept short film, Amityville, The People of New York versus Ronald J. DeFeo Jr. We talked to the writer and director, Rob Levinson, just last week or in the last episode. Now we have the two main actors. And I sat down talking about, of course, the project, about what they're working on, and the film industry here in New England. It was a very fun interview, and we'll just go right to it. We are being joined today by Ethan Rodgers and Eddie Nason, who star in this new short film, proof of concept, Amityville, The People of New York versus Ronald J. DeFeo Jr. Eddie, Ethan, thank you so much for hopping on the Hub on Hollywood.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
So let me first start with just talking about the infamous story of the Amityville murders. Ethan, you can start first. When you first heard about this role, you are playing Ronald J. DeFeo Jr., who is known for murdering his family. How do you go into playing a character like this?
A lot of research. When Rob first approached me about the role, it was about a year before we filmed it. And I wasn't entirely positive on it, just because I was familiar with the case. I am familiar with DeFeo, and I found him to be a very difficult character to find any redeeming qualities and to kind of identify with. So I was a little gun shy, and then Rob came back to me about a month or two before we started filming and asked me to audition. And my dad told me that opportunity doesn't often knock twice. So I jumped on it. But I did a ton of research. I watched all of the interviews and footage of DeFeo that I could, because there's quite a bit of it. And I found in that there was somebody I could sympathize with. He was a victim of abuse from a very early age, both mental, physical abuse. And as you know, as a victim, I could find sympathies with him in that and how he coped in the environment that he was in. But ultimately, he was a totally irredeemable piece of human excrement.
Yeah, to say it lightly.
Yeah, how much I can say, how vulgar I can get. But yeah, he was. At the time the murders took place, he was a heroin addict. He was an alcoholic. He was drinking about a fifth of scotch a day. And, getting into that headspace as an actor can be difficult.
And Eddie, you play the character Gerald Sullivan. Can you tell me who this character is and your experience? Did you watch the movies? Did you read the book? How much of the story did you know?
So, I'm not a big horror guy, so I haven't seen anything Amityville related. I didn't know much about the story at all, to be honest with you. I was one of the last cast members, I think, to jump on when Rob kind of got in touch with me to see if I'd submit a quick audition tape.
That actually may be a benefit going into this character, since from what Rob Levinson, the director and writer, he's looking at this from the trial perspective, as opposed to what we normally see, the paranormal activity perspective.
Exactly. So I just, got into my lawyer mode and tried figuring that out. And then, like I was saying, because I kind of jumped on the project so late in the game, and again, this is a proof of concept. So, a lot of times with a proof of concept, you're making a mini version of what you hope to be able to show in a feature-length film. So, hopefully when the feature-length film comes to be made, there'll be a little bit more, I'll know a little bit more about backstory and such as far as Gerald Sullivan goes.
And working with Rob Levinson, of course, he's been around the block for several years and has been producing some pretty amazing and consistently positive projects. What was it like working with Rob? Ethan, what was your experience like?
Oh, it was fantastic. Rob gave me the space to work. When he wanted something done a particular way, he'd let you know. But mainly it was very hands off for me. I had the space to work. He gave me the space to develop the persona of DeFeo. It just kind of set the stage for me to have, not free reign, but just to be that person in that space. So working with Rob was phenomenal. I would absolutely jump on it again any chance that I had, whether I was acting or working alongside behind the camera with him, because he's got a phenomenal eye. So working with Rob was absolutely great.
Eddie, any memories that pop up to mind from either like a fun moment on the set or something that meshed well with when it came to working with Rob or even with Ethan?
So yeah, I had met Ethan for the first time on set. Just seeing him in his zone as DeFeo was really awesome. I was like, wow, this guy's really like into this character, and the research certainly shows. So kudos, Ethan, because that totally showed on set, especially in I only saw you in the courtroom stuff, and that was just remarkable as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, thanks, Eddie. One of my favorite parts of filming was the courtroom back and forth that you and I had, and I wasn't trying to be an ass to you or anything, but I wanted to make sure I didn't talk to you before, like in the courtroom, before we had our interaction. So there's a little bit of, I was not intentionally building tension, but I really thoroughly enjoyed the back and forth that you and I had. That was really great.
I didn't realize you were being so method on me there.
Hey man,
That's good thinking.
I was just kind of going. I was just doing my thing. But no, I think either way, if I could work with either of you or Rob again or anybody from that crew again, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Rob, I mean, I have to say, I hadn't met Rob up until he asked me to audition for this. And I sent him a quick audition. He gave me a few notes in an email. He was like, "Would you mind auditioning for this? Just send me a self-tape." And I don't know, he just came back to me being like, "Spot on, that was great. Like, you nailed every freaking beat, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Okay, what does this mean?" And he's offering me the part. And then beyond that, like Ethan was saying, I mean, he certainly just let us do our work. You know, he didn't have too many notes. The notes were always good notes when there was something. Yeah, it was really, really an enjoyable experience all around.
Are you both from the New England area?
I live in New Hampshire. I'm originally from the Midwest, but I've lived in New England for the last 20 plus years. So I consider myself a New Englander at this point.
I think that counts.
Yeah.
And myself, I'm from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Now living in Providence, born and raised here my whole life. Definitely a Rhode Islander through and through.
You know, a lot of people may have the idea that they may need to go to Hollywood immediately and go to Hollywood West and break through, when in fact that we have a lot of people over here calling us Hollywood East. Is there anything that you're surprised by when it comes to how expansive and ever-growing the film industry appears to be over here on this side? Ethan?
The way I look at it, it stems out from necessity because we all want to make movies, but nobody wants to be homeless in LA. You know, like that's literally
or a waiter.
That managers have put it to me before. It's like, no, don't go out there till someone calls you. And in the meantime, I still want to shoot stuff. So you shoot your own stuff. You shoot other people's stuff. You find like-minded individuals that want to make movies. Right now, I'm waiting to go have a writer's night with two of my fellow writers. Henry Columbar and Matt Snerchia. We produced and directed the pilot episode for a show we're working on called The Trunk. So my mindset has been, I like Hollywood East, but I like Hollywood Northeast just a little bit better. Just because, you know, East could be anything below the Tidewater Basin. But Hollywood Northeast is a very specific place, and that's where we live. And it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. I would say if you want to start in this business, don't go to school necessarily. If you want to, that's great. I'm not telling people not to go to school, but start making movies. You've got a cell phone. You've got a couple of friends who like to do weird, ridiculous stuff. You've got YouTube. Get out there, start doing it. It's the best education you could ever get. And don't think that you need to go out west to make your dreams a reality.
Yeah, Eddie, what's your experience been like so far?
No, that's an excellent point. I would totally agree. You know, we can do everything with technology nowadays. Like, you don't need to, especially after COVID too, like, you don't need to be out west to get an audition from an LA casting director or to get an audition from a New York casting director nowadays. If you can market yourself the right way and get those kind of calls and maybe grab a manager or agent out in any of those given markets, you can get those auditions that B-list, C-list actors are probably getting as well, you know? I mean, right from here in your own home in good old New England.
So what's coming up next? Because I know coming up this weekend, a showing of the proof of concept. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. We're going to be doing a showing this weekend as a horror film festival. A whole bunch of small indie New England films are going to be shown at the Elm Draft House this weekend in Millbury, Mass. You will be able to get tickets through Eventbrite, and you'll also be able to buy tickets at the door. And that's going to be a showcase of a phenomenal amount of local New England talent, and a great opportunity to come out and meet some of the people behind making those movies a reality. So if you're in the area and you want to come down and see a bunch of really cool movies and meet a whole bunch of really cool people who made them, stop on by.
Well, that was a great plug. That was an amazing plug, Ethan.
Nailed it. It's as if he practiced. But let me ask.
I'm best when I'm off the cuff.
So let me ask, what's after the showing on Saturday? What's in the works? I know, Ethan, you mentioned The Trunk. Tell me about future plans and everything.
Well, I feel like I've been dominating this one a little bit. Eddie, why don't you go ahead and go first?
To be honest, I don't have anything in the pipeline.
I feel like an asshole.
I kind of just wrapped up a couple of things that I was like kind of day playing on and had a little bit parts in and stuff like that. So I'm looking now. I'm looking and waiting, and it's about to be winter, and that kind of sucks for movies. But there might be some prospects. There might be something there
So
for me.
do you keep your like your finger on the pulse when it comes to like the Boston Casting, all those other agencies? Because I know for our podcast we try to publicize all the projects, as many projects as possible. Are you keeping a close eye? Like what agencies are you trying to keep track of?
Yeah, I mean, I just auditioned for a little like one-liner, two-liner in the HBO Max series Julia. Boston Casting hits me up for things like that. I'm hoping to stay on CP Casting's radar because they're really prominent with booking the local principal actors on stuff. I hear they have a new Jeremy Renner movie based around the whole OxyContin crisis or something. I hear they have something like that coming through. So I definitely keep my finger on the pulse, and I know it's coming through. And I like to think I have a pretty good rapport with these casting agencies locally in New England. So if I hear about something, I have no problem just saying, "Hey, heard about this show. Is there something I can audition for? What do you think?" And just shoot them a quick email. And, but yeah, as far as like Hollywood stuff goes that comes to New England to film, it kind of can be slim pickings for a local actor because you're not always going to get an audition for everything that comes through. They kind of have their favorites, their favorite locals that have booked and consistently booked, and they're like proven as the locals that can just get on set and do their thing and it'll be good or whatever. But
well, we'll definitely let you plug yourself at the end of this. And so if anybody's listening, anybody watching, we have a great actor here, Eddie Nason, who will be more than happy to audition and lend his skills. How's that?
Please do.
Ethan, what about yourself?
Right now, I've got a serious problem with double booking myself.
Oh, wow. What a terrible problem.
Terrible problem to have. No, I've got, we wrapped production and we're in the middle of editing The Trunk, which is based on a true crime that took place in the city that I live in, Somersworth, New Hampshire. We're working directly with the detective that worked the case back in 1983. And I can't get into a whole bunch of details because then you're not going to watch it. But it's a true story. We kept it as true as we could for, dramatization of events. But basically, because we had access to Pat Boyle, the detective on the case, I had all of his old case notes. So when it came time to write the story, Henry and I, or mainly Henry, Henry Columbar, my writing partner, we were just going through case notes and writing it as it was reported back then. So I've got that coming up. I'm finishing out filming at the end of this month with Justin Salem on my first feature, Sanguinary. I'm very excited about finishing that out because I'm sore and I'm tired of getting beat up in the woods. So that's good. And then at the end of the year, beginning of next year, I'm going to be filming One for the Road with an incredibly talented group of people that's come together. And I'm very, very excited about that. That's based off a Stephen King short from one of his short story collections. So the name of it escapes me right now. David Jester's going to be directing it. And it's going to be a phenomenal time. The casting crew that's been lined up for that is just top tier. So I'm very, very excited about that.
Excellent. Yeah, so we'll definitely keep track of, your projects as well, and as well as, of course, as we mentioned, the proof of concept, Amityville, The People of New York versus Ronald J. DeFeo Jr. Ethan, Eddie, thank you so much for coming on the Hub on Hollywood. Here's your time to plug yourself. Where can people find you? Where can people follow you?
People can find me on Instagram at the Ethan Rodgers or whatever. I can't remember. You look for my face.
We'll put a link down below.
Yeah, we'll put a link. I'm on Facebook, but I hate it.
Same here.
Just look for me in the funny papers.
Perfect.
I'm on Facebook, just Eddie Nason on Facebook, Eddie_Nason on Instagram. Those are my main two things that I'm using. EddieNason@gmail.com. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on. Ethan Rodgers, Eddie Nason. the stars of Amityville, The People of New York versus Ronald J. DeFeo Jr. Keeping our fingers crossed that will be a smash hit and get approved for a film, and we'll see you guys return on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks so much, James.
Thank you.
That was amazing. You know what else is amazing, James? Something that I am watching right now, Daredevil, the original Marvel series from back in 2015. Charlie Cox's Daredevil made a reappearance in the She-Hulk series recently, and he was so charismatic, so amazing that it got me wondering, like, who is this guy, right? And we also saw him in Spider-Man No Way Home recently. So I'm like, I need to know about Daredevil. And I have been sucked down the rabbit hole, okay? James, I can barely come up for air.
No, this is his year. I'm so happy that he did make that cameo appearance in the new Spider-Man movie. Spoiler alert for a movie that's been out for months now. But also very happy to see his character come back for She-Hulk. And I think some of the best episodes of She-Hulk included Charlie Cox's character Daredevil. I thought it was a really fresh way to reintroduce him, and which we know, of course, a new Disney Plus series, Born Again, will be coming out later as well. Really looking forward to that. But it all began on Netflix.
That's right. Charlie Cox's Daredevil was so beloved. His recent resurgence, like you were talking about, Charlie Cox recently credited his fans with that, with bringing the character back, and the hashtag Save Daredevil campaign for bringing him into the MCU and revitalizing that character. And I can see why, okay? Going back, rewatching the original Daredevil series, which I had never watched, and it's now on Disney Plus, by the way.
Yeah.
He's now a Disney prince, okay? Daredevil is now a Disney prince. I'm about through 2.5 seasons out of 3 right now. And this is as close to a perfect show as it gets.
Really is.
I'm so taken. I'm so drawn in. It breathes. It's true to the comics and the characterizations of the original characters. It's violent. It's graphic. But Charlie Cox is just pure talent and charisma and charm. The villains in particular are very well fleshed out and dramatic and compelling. And there are cliffhangers that I actually care about. There's so many shows where it's like, yeah, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, whatever. No, I genuinely care about almost everyone in this show. And, I'll get to my little minor criticisms later. But from, like, the Punisher's final monologue in season 2, I won't get into details, but it was one of the most riveting things I've watched. It was an absolute masterclass in acting. Big kudos to John Bernthal, who plays Punisher in that, to when Matt's partner Foggy Nelson discovers his identity. They could have very easily glossed over that and, in 5 or 10 minutes or so, been over that. They gave them an entire episode dedicated to the confrontation between these two friends, and then they were at odds for the rest of the season. So it's, all the feelings are fleshed out. It breathes. It feels real. It's true to the characters. The emotions are there. It's just masterful overall. And I'm not all for the violence, James. I fast forward through
that's the best
Daredevil
part.
Literally punching his way through all of Hell's Kitchen. I can't. I'm not all for blood and gore, but I am for these characters and the story that's being told and how compelling that is. So you watch Daredevil. Is this adding up to how you feel?
No, and it's a good thing that this show has great action and also great character development. I love that Netflix brought down the superhero world down to the ground street level, because before we have these grand superheroes like Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, all these huge figures on a saving the world on a grand scale. However, for Netflix and Daredevil, that type of character, he's kind of like Spider-Man, where he can do big things, but mostly focuses on the neighborhoods and his community and how to make things better and squashing problems on the street level. And that's one thing I really appreciated about this show, and that it seemed so much more grounded. And I think what She-Hulk did was what improved on it was kind of add more in the acrobatic aspect of the character Daredevil, and so I do love how he was reintroduced. But yeah, Netflix it set the groundwork for this character and Charlie Cox to both shine and bring it back, from the, I would say, not so complimentary ways when Ben Affleck was Daredevil. I'm not sure if I don't blame him, but yeah,
that was the other comment I was going to make is it kind of ruined parts of it for me, like the original Ben Affleck, and the that I didn't want to rewatch the whole backstory of Daredevil because of that. But Charlie Cox is just perfect. He's absolute perfection. He embodies this character so very well. And I did want to just note that, you can now watch it on Disney Plus. However, it took me forever to figure out how to adjust the content rating systems on Disney Plus, because it's rated TVMA. It's not even R, it's TVMA. So you really got to dig down deep and adjust the settings, and then make sure your kids don't watch it.
I learned that when I was trying to watch Deadpool, because Deadpool is now on Disney Plus, also 1 and 2, and I was trying to find it because I, like the Netflix brethren, I share my password with my mom, and so I had to.
How dare you?
I know, but she's a saint and an angel. No, we are fighting the system. But I had to go through like the email account on my laptop, going to that account on Disney Plus, and then play with the settings there, because Deadpool wasn't popping up. I was like, well, I know it's on. They just announced, they made a big deal about this, and I couldn't find it, so I had to we need to adjust that, and now it's available. But yeah, if you have not watched Daredevil on Netflix and have only gotten a glimpse or a taste of him on She-Hulk, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I do like, some people were afraid, with She-Hulk being a comedy, they're going to really change the character and he's not going to be as gritty or as tough or whatever. I think they did a fine balance of showing how tough and how much of a badass Daredevil is, but also show a lighter, more fun side of him. And so I thought those two characters bounced off of each other very well.
Oh yeah, the chemistry was there.
I want
and what
more.
was great about having Charlie Cox, or having Daredevil, Matt Murdock in She-Hulk, was that he got to be his more fun self. He got to be pure Matt Murdock. Fan service, you know what I mean? He got to be flirty and funny without the blood and guts so much. So I really loved the chemistry between those two characters, and I want more. I want to see more. I loved it. So just great job overall, guys. And we can't get enough of Charlie Cox in the MCU. I think that they're doing him justice, and by allowing him to have fulfilling relationships, it's doing all of these characters more justice. So it makes me more excited for the future of the MCU than the wham bam thank you ma'am big giant superhero movies. And I have this question for you, James, because I'm about to give my answer. If you could, all right, I'm not trying to get you in trouble, okay?
Okay.
But if you could marry any superhero, who would it be? My answer obviously is Charlie Cox now, but I'm not trying to get you in trouble. But in a fantastical world, if you could marry a superhero, who would it be?
I think actually, I'll stick to the show. I would, Tatiana Maslany. She's pretty cool. I think she's a great addition to the MCU. Very fun and very personable, and not bad to look at. So I think I'd have to go with Tatiana.
All right. Okay. So that's great. What do you guys think? If you could marry anyone in the MCU, or superheroes in general, who are you going for? Who's got the charisma? Who's the one? Right, James?
Yeah, comment down below. Again, we are everywhere. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at Hub on Hollywood. Listen to us on any of the major podcasting streaming services. Thank you so much for sticking around. But if you are in New England and are trying to make that or find that big break of yours, we have casting calls right after the show. So stick around and we will try to hook you up as well as we can.
Until then, guys, we'll see you next week. I'm Jamie.
I'm James. Bye.
All right, James, here's the best part of the whole show. Casting calls. If you are either trying to break into acting or you just want to spend a day on set hanging out with celebrities and seeing how movies are made, this is the part for you. My daughter Desi is helping us here today as we share our casting calls. So first of all, we have Boston Casting is looking for women with visible tattoos for a featured extra role in a movie. It pays well. It works at the end of October in the Boston area. If you are a woman with visible tattoos, I guess preferably all over your body, you're going to want to send a photo, contact information, where you are based, to Boston Casting Submit 5 at gmail.com.
All right, Boston Casting is looking for a family of 3, including parents and a baby around 5 to 6 months old, weighing around 14 to 16 pounds for a web project. This shoots on October 26th or the 27th in Rhode Island, and it is a paid gig. So to be considered, please submit a family photo, baby's weight, date of birth, contact information, and where you are based. Send all of that to bostoncastingcommercial at gmail.com.
Boston Casting is also looking for a family of 4, non-union, parents 30 to 40 years old, kids 5 to 12, any ethnicity, shooting in early November. This pays pretty well for a family of 4 to 5. To be considered for that, you're going to want to send your contact info, family, photos, date of birth of your kids, subject line, family of 4 to 5, and your name to bostoncastingcommercial at gmail.com.
All right, Boston Casting looking for Japanese-American girls 11 to 14 years old for a museum video. This is a non-union gig. Acting experience is preferred. This shoots one day in November on the 14th and pays $600. So please submit your contact information, including email, cell phone, headshot, and resume. Send that to Boston Casting Summer Project at gmail.com, and in the subject line put Japanese American girl / your name. Boston Casting Summer Project at gmail.com. And CP Casting is looking for background extras for a movie. CP Casting looking for men and women over 18 plus for a union and non-union work. Again, background extra work for an independent feature film filming through late November here in Massachusetts. So if you are interested and available, please email all your information, including recent photos of yourself. Send that to anydaynowextras at gmail.com, anydayextras at gmail.com. Background actors will need to purchase 2 at-home self-test COVID-19 rapid tests, and you do need to test yourself 2 days before and 1 day before you are scheduled to work, and you will be reimbursed for those test kits.
All right, James, those are the specific castings that we have right now, but there are a number of really awesome projects that are working at this moment. Billy Dowd Casting is doing background for Invitation to a Bonfire, which I believe is an AMC series. Also on AMC, we have Kevin Can F Himself, which Boston Casting is handling on that. Kendall Cooper Casting is looking for background extras for the Madam Web movie, which is the latest Sony venture into the Spider-Verse that's filming all around Massachusetts right now. So that's through Kendall Cooper Casting if you want to be a background extra on that. We have casting calls every week, amazing projects that need every kind of person under the sun. So stick with the Hub on Hollywood. We're going to get you on the silver screen, and maybe you'll get to hang out with me on set. So thanks for sticking around. Best of luck to everyone, and we'll talk to you guys again next week.
See you guys.